Every day you pick up the paper only to read a headline about the DCU. Yeah, well, today's no different. Continuing the string of recent chaotic news from the studio, it looks like they've pulled the plug on Aquaman 2. The upcoming sequel is not getting a budget reshoot, and we're here to tell you all about it. We also think DC owes us a Justice League cameo in Aquaman 2. First, the budget for Aquaman 2 was reduced. If you were one of the few fans waiting for Aquaman, this isn't going to be easy. The upcoming movie just had its reshoot budget reduced by Warner Bros. Discovery. With the first movie hitting the $1 billion mark at the box office, it wasn't a surprise when the studio greenlit the sequel. With that said, we kinda expected DC to give the movie their all, but it looks like they're not doing that. According to a new report from Variety, Pam Abdy, Warner Bros. Pictures co-head, broke the bad news to director James Wan that he'll have to reduce his reshoot budget. Not the kind of news you want to wake up to. But to be fair, James was kinda overarching with the $205 million overproduction budget. He was actually asked to reduce the budget even before all the changes by Pamela Abdy, co-president of Warner Bros. The situation has gotten worse with new leadership as they review the costs of their projects. Still, everyone can predict that the studio will have to open its wallet with the reshooting. It's the only way they can continue on their path to incorporate their upcoming movies into the new DC. Looks like Aquaman 2 has some bad days coming up ahead. We have not heard anything from Wan or anyone else at Warner on the matter. Coming up, Amber Heard could make a comeback. It looks like there might be some good news in the middle of all this for someone. You remember the scenes Amber Heard shot for the movie as Mira, which the studio then decided to scrap because of the big trial? Well, it turns out they might keep those after all. With a reduced budget, James Wan can't go around discarding precious footage. He doesn't have the resources to reshoot those scenes. This means Amber Heard is making a comeback. Previously, the actress was going to be replaced by someone else, but that's not the case anymore. James' hands are tied now. The best part is that it's right after the Never Back Down actress posted about putting her trial to bed and returning to work. Looks like the stars are aligning for her. Moving on, this might be Jason Momoa's last time. With that said, we think the worst has come knocking. Aquaman 2 might be the last time Jason Momoa makes an appearance on our screens as the aquatic superhero. Why do we say that? Well, it all boils down to the same thing over and over again. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is the last planned DCU movie on the calendar, and right now the new studio taking the place of DCU hasn't announced any plans for an Aquaman movie. Worse, there have been rumors about Jason playing a new DCU character in the future. Many think this new character might be Lobo, but the jury is still out on that one. We also don't know whether this supposed new character will be in the same universe or not. One thing is for sure though, the future doesn't look bright for our King of the Seas. Wan probably never expected the sequel to be the final conclusion of the franchise, so we doubt there'll be any plot points in there that could give the proper send-off for our superhero. Now, is DC going to reboot the franchise? If the sequel becomes another $1 billion success, maybe Jason can stay on as the face of the franchise. The DCU can't deny his role in the superhero's popularity after all. But if that doesn't happen, then there's a good chance the DC studios could reboot the franchise. Whether they're in the mood for completely pulling the plug on it or a soft reboot remains to be seen. Word on the street is that James Gunn and Peter Safran, DC Studios co-heads, are preparing to present their vision for the studio to David Zaslav, Warner Bros. Discovery CEO. How much do you want to bet that they'll be bringing up the fate of one Protector of the Deep? Followed by, Aquaman 2 needs a Justice League cameo. Unfortunately, it's not just Aquaman. With new leadership taking the reins, the future of the entire Justice League hangs in the balance. They already cut the cord on Henry Cavill, aka Superman. Talks about replacing Ezra Miller have been in the works for a pretty long time, and now seems the right time. It seems like the Justice League that the studio intended to be a launching point for its universe has run its course. Needless to say, we're concerned, and in the middle of all this chaos, we need Aquaman 2 to have a Justice League to close this chapter of the DCU, followed by, we need closure. We're not kidding, we really do. Aquaman 2 is the last movie from Walter Hamada's time, and it's already going to feature Ben Affleck in the Batman costume, so why not go the extra mile and ask Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot, Ray Fisher, and maybe even Ezra Miller to put on their hero costumes one more time? Not only would it be a dream come true, but it would be the proper send-off for the old DCU. Sure, the first movie was not much of a success thanks to the changes of directors in the middle of reshoots. Heck, the studio worsened the situation with their attempts to right their wrongs. But still, they're our Justice League, and we want to see them get back together one more time. Peacemaker had a Justice League cameo, but DC forgot a few members in that one. Really? Only Flash and Aquaman? Didn't know we were accepting the bare minimum. With that said, there's no way this is going to be the last time the heroes grace our screens as one. Next, the aftermath. Sure, we're all rooting for a Justice League cameo, but what about after? Well, like we said, things are not looking bright for anyone. Henry is already out. There have been talks about keeping Gal Gadot around, but we'll have to wait and see. They did kinda shelve Wonder Woman 3, so we're not really hopeful. We have no word about Ezra Miller, Ray Fisher, or Ben Affleck's futures. James Gunn and Peter Safran are working hard on their new vision for the DC studios that aims to reconnect the franchise. Whatever those plans are, we're never going to hear about them until 2024 at least. Gunn was asked about his plans, and he said that we would unfortunately have to wait. But he did reassure us and said that he's giving these characters and the stories the time and attention they deserve. Looks like we can rest easy after all. Now, DC Studios had a lot of baggage. We know a lot of us are mad, and rightfully so, about the recent cancellations, but hear us out. Warner Bros. Discovery wasn't exactly dealt the best hand when they decided to take the keys to the superhero universe. Over the years, DC has had its fair share of problems with the franchise. With different directors bringing their half-baked visions to the table, it's been more of a mess. They tried to build up the Snyderverse to be a big showdown between the Justice League and Darkseid, but it never worked. There hasn't been the same spark as in the Marvel Universe. With that said, it makes sense that DC is trying to just put a pin in everything now. Chalking everything up to the multiverse theory could be more effort than it's worth for the studio. They certainly don't have any reservations about canceling projects in the works. Cough. Batgirl, cough. Even with Michael Keaton as Batman, DC decided it was better to put this one in the bin. And while they market it as a financially motivated decision, we think it had more to do with continuity differences. Warner Brothers has a lot of cleaning to do, but we're hoping they're a little gentle with some of our superheroes whom we've grown to love over the years. Let's take a look at what James Gunn has to say about everything. James Gunn has never shied away from expressing himself, so when fans descended into chaos after Wonder Woman 1984 was shelved, the trusted director stepped up to clear the air. In a lengthy tweet on December 8th, he wrote that he and Peter chose to helm DC Studios knowing they were coming into a fractious environment both in the stories told and in the audience itself, and there would be an unavoidable transitional period as they moved into telling a cohesive story across film, TV, and animation. But in the end, the drawbacks of that transitional period were dwarfed by the creative possibilities and the opportunity to build upon what has worked in DC so far and to help rectify what has not. The studio has 4 films on the calendar: Shazam in March, The Flash in June, Blue Beetle in August, and Aquaman in December. Considering what Gunn has said, we think we should count our blessings and be thankful for what we have coming our way. Finally, here are the deets on Jason's new DC character. You didn't think we'd be leaving you without those, did you? The rumors first picked up when Gunn posted cryptic messages about the new faces of the DCU. And guess who's on the roster? Lobo, of course. But wait, it gets even better. As all of us were freaking out about Gunn's posts, Jason Momoa also jumped in on the fun. He said that comic book fans around the world are going to be very excited. We know it's not a lot to go on, but hear us out. Lobo could be better for Jason in the long run. He kind of played Khal Drogo before he was the King of the Seas, so we think he can handle the flawed hero storyline. Alright, that's a wrap for this video. What do you think about the reduced budget? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more videos. Bye now.